Hi guys, it's Coach Pat from the Rant. Before we get to the Rant, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor, Premier Football Consulting. These guys do a great job of placing football players throughout the country at great programs from Division I to Division III. No one does it any better. But instead of me telling you about it, how about you hear from the CEO, Nico Pappas? Nico, tell us all about it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Rant. My name is Nico Pappas. I'm Coach Pappas' son. I'm also the director and one of the founders here at Premier Football Consulting. Our team at PFC has been around for 23 years and is one of the largest football consulting groups in the country, as we've helped over 1,000 players and their family navigate this competitive, confusing, and costly recruiting process in an effort to find a great college fit. Our team consists of 15 former players and coaches that have experience at the FBS level, the FCS and Ivy League level, as well as the small college high academic landscape. Since the advent of the transfer portal, the NIL, and in the post days of COVID, this college recruiting process has become crazier than ever. It's confusing, it's competitive, and most importantly, it's costly. The PFC has stayed on top of all of these trends and has the ability to leverage our experience, our knowledge, and most importantly, our connections at the college level to give our players a huge edge in what will be a very competitive process. So if your son desires to play college football, I highly recommend that you get the help of an expert. When you go to buy a house, you look to hire a real estate agent. It's the same thing with the college recruiting process. When you are about to enter it, you should seek the help of an expert, and that's where the PFC comes in. So if you would be interested in a quick free consultation call, feel free to reach out to me at 617-308-7801 or shoot me an email at nico@premierfootballconsulting.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico, and thank you, Coach Pap. Now, on to the podcast. Cue the music, baby.
Hey, welcome back, folks. I'm your welcome back to the Rant. Sorry about that, guys. I'm your co-host, Coach Pap, and I have never, ever seen my co-host Danny V happier than when he saw Damien come onto the screen with that winter hat on. How about that, Danny?
Yep. The worst part, he's trying to sell me on the joys of foliage. Like,
I'm trying to, man.
I've seen enough foliage in 65 years.
I'm still young and I love foliage, man.
Oh,
I love that October weather.
The great Danny B couldn't be any happier right now. He's got that Cheshire cat. I'll tell you when he was happier, though, Dame. And you're going to show the picture. When I finally picked up my bet. I finally picked it up. We went to Goldberg's.
Now, the rumor has it that the waiter, when he found out, he collapsed after we left.
We tipped him great. We bought the brides. I'll tell you what, Danny, how was Goldberg's, right?
Great. It was a great breakfast. Great time.
Great breakfast.
Thank you.
Great time. That's great to hear.
Dame, you're next. You're coming in next, which is fantastic. Yeah. So, anyways, guys, we're really excited about it's been a great week of football. I mean, wins, losses, upsets. People are starting to get chopped, this and that. We're going to have our opinions and all that stuff. Our guest this week is going to be Ricardo Allen. Oh, what a great 7-year career in the NFL, played in 2 Super Bowls, and he's a fantastic guy. He's got some great stories. He's going to be our guest at the end. But, Dame, if you want to take us off, let's go.
Absolutely, guys. You know how we love to start off our show, guys. Let's get it whipped. The Danny V MIA recap. Danny, let us know about this MIA.
Well, as usual, lots of good games, some interesting scores to say the least. I'll rip them off real quick. Abington beats Norwell. Good game in the South Shore League, 21-14. The prep is rolling. Boy, Brian's got them going this early in the season. You're heading into the midway point. They hammered BC High 35-0. Big one up in the Merrimack Valley. Methuen knocks off Central Catholic, who was coming off a win over Zavarian. You move further down. Marblehead showing once again. Jim Rudloff is one of these guys who never gets his proper due. But year in and year out, he does a fantastic job. They knocked off Beverly. Quincy, another team that, you don't hear much about, still undefeated, not beating Plymouth South. Tewksbury rolls over Billerica. North Attleboro beats Canton. Milton, congrats to Steve Dembowski on his 200th win. They beat Wachusett. Neshoba Tech, our guy, Danny Kelly beats Whittier. Masco, surprisingly easy win over Danvers. I looked at Medfield, another team that keeps rolling. There's a guy that we might want to have on in the next few weeks, Eric Owenberg, great guy. They handled Medway. Cohasset loses to Randolph. Randolph, another team, doing a great job, back-to-back, great wins for them. And you got West Bridgewater, who knocks off Fairhaven, another great game there. A couple of surprise scores. I got to be Brockton beating Weymouth really surprised me. I didn't see that one coming at all. You had Bedford takes out Lincoln Sudbury, another team that was previously undefeated. The Bob Alameda Bowl didn't go Bob's way as Wilmington knocked off Stoneham. And Hingham rallies to beat Duxbury for the first time in, Jesus, I think I don't think I had gray hair the last time they beat them. And then, you look at, Uxbridge 30 in a row down the drain, losing to Auburn 39-33. And I'll do it real quick. Looking forward to the games this week. You got Xaverian, CM, big one. Quincy, Situate, Dartmouth, Barnstable, both undefeated. Walpole, Milton, Burlington, Stoneham, Canton, Foxborough, Northeast, Shawsheen, Amesbury, North Reading, Bourne, Fairhaven, and BB&N Milton Academy. There you go.
Thanks, Dan. No one does it any better. A couple comments. I've got a chance. I watch a lot of tape. I obviously saw CM play Malden Catholic. Boy, they're really talented, really, really good team. And then I saw the prep play BC High, and boy, I'll tell you what, Brian does a fantastic job with those guys. Though I haven't seen Xaverian yet, but I'll tell you what, when those two teams play, wow, is that going to be something? You talked about Jimmy Rudloff at Marblehead. Boy, Marblehead's one of those schools that loses a ton of kids to private schools, and all Jimmy does is keep on winning with the kids who decide to stay home. I mean, year in and year out. You're right, Danny. He does a fantastic job. Hey, take one for the Publics. Methuen taking down Central Catholic. I mean, I have always said I can't believe that the Merrimack Valley allows a Catholic school to play in the public school league, and sure enough, Methuen takes them down. I know Joe Cerami's really happy up there to see it, which is always fun.
Yeah.
The Dembowski boys not only have Steve with 200 wins, but Wally undefeated. Okay, Cousins. So huge for those guys.
Winchester really playing well.
Oh, they are playing really well. I think they have a big one coming up as well. And then I saw Randolph play. Those guys, I'll tell you, do a great job with their guys. Obviously a low level, but doing wonderful things. The Brockton win over Wilmington. The Brockton win over Weymouth. The Wilmington win over Stoneham. 5 undefeated teams go down. I've always said this. I break down seasons, whether it's the NFL, college, or high school. I break them down in 3 areas. You get the beginning when everyone's really fired up to go. Okay, that first third, everyone's ready to go. You got the last third when people are saying, you know what, this is the end of the year and they got to go. Boy, in the middle here, this is where I think you see a lot of upsets. And that's what we saw last week. 5 upsets, 5 undefeated teams go down. And, it just makes for so much more fun right there in the Massachusetts high school leagues. The big game this weekend is BB&N Milton Academy, in my opinion. BB&N came back after taking a little bit of a pounding by playing the PG school down in Connecticut, Avon Old Farms. They took it to Belmont Hill. Milton Academy had a huge winner over St. Paul's, who people don't realize how good of a team St. Paul's in New Hampshire is. That's going to be homecoming at BB&N. I'm going to actually be there. They're honoring one of my ex-teams there, which is going to be great. Damian, now that I'm seeing what you look like, I'm going to have to borrow some clothes from Danny because he still has his winter clothes. Okay.
Bundle up, man. That win factor's real, man. That win factor's real.
I don't think the tank top's going to make it up there, Danny, on Saturday.
I don't think so.
But anyways, that's going to be a hell of a game. I'm not putting the winner at the top because Tabe is obviously playing very, very, very well. But I'll tell you, the win is really going to be in the driver's seat to be in that championship game in the Class B. So, anyways, Danny, great job. Thank you so much. All right, Dan, where are we going, buddy?
All right, guys, let's change our direction into the college landscape, fellas. A lot has happened this week. We had a huge win, a huge Indiana win over Oregon. Love that. I bet Indiana to win, so I'm on the Kirk Cignetti train. We had Georgia, Auburn. We had a bunch of fantastic. USC beat the shit out of Michigan. I was happy to see that. But probably the biggest news out of this whole thing is James Franklin. For 12 years, he's been the head coach of Penn State. 12 years. They've been great, man. They've been always a top 20 team, always, trying to get into the Big Ten championship, always trying to be, a big heavy hitter, but he's never did it. And Kraft fired him this weekend or last weekend. And man, we have a lot to talk about, guys. Guys, let's get into the whole week.
I'm gonna start with this only because I want Danny to finish up with his Franklin. What would I call it? Epilogue. But anyways, Kirk Cignetti, and we're going to talk about who's going to be the new Penn State caller. In my opinion, it's going to be his to turn down. What the guy has done. I think everyone knows the story now, but Kirk Cignetti has been a lifelong. His father was a Hall of Fame coach, Frank Cignetti, National Hall of Fame coach. Kurt's just one of these guys that's just an animal. He's all football. He built his way all the way up to become an assistant coach for Nick Saban at Alabama, and then left there to take a Division II head coaching job at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Went all the way down there because he wanted to be a head coach. From there to Elon to James Madison, now to Indiana. Will be at Penn State. What a game. Boy, they did an unbelievable job. I'm going to talk a little bit about Mendoza, who I think right now is the front runner for Heisman. Okay. Love seeing Indiana get where they have gone. All right. Danny's going to tell us all about his buddy Franklin, which is good. I tell you what, that's going to be interesting to see what Danny says. But the other thing that kind of gets me about college football at this point, guys, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to it, but all of a sudden the polls are coming out, and they're really not making sense. As a matter of fact, some people gave Oregon first place votes after Indiana went in and beat them at home. Okay. It's all being run by the networks. So I'm going to turn it over to my expert partner, Danny. You can either start with that or start with Penn State. You go, buddy.
Well, I'll start with Penn State. I mean, I've never bought into the James Franklin thing. I've always, been sarcastic and called him Little Game James because he comes up short. I do think he's a good coach. But at Penn State, a good coach, when the expectations are very high, is not good enough. I've never bought into the quarterback, and I feel badly. He got hurt. He's out for the year. And I don't want to see anybody lose a job because even though he's going to walk away with $50 million or maybe even a little more than that, I'm a little surprised. I guess now you seeing the colleges have turned kind of like the pros. In the old days, very rarely did a coach get whacked during the season. He may take two in the hat in the last week of the season or so, but now. And I'm sure I'm missing some, but we got UCLA, Virginia Tech, Penn State. I mean, there may be others there that I've missed, but right there, I mean, you never would have seen that happen before. But there's a lot of extenuating circumstances coming into play. You hear crazy rumors that Adidas might have been behind pushing Franklin out the door, which is, insane in itself. But in this day and age. But as far as Indiana, I think that was almost a must-win for them. Only in the fact that last year they went 11-2, which is great for Indiana. But from the outside, people always said they were soft. They were a soft 11-2 because the two tough teams they played, Ohio State and Notre Dame, they weren't on the field with them. Then this year, I think a lot of people looked at it. They're good, but beating Oregon at Oregon, all of a sudden, the butt goes out the window. They are a legitimate national title contender.
So I'm going to pick up with the Indiana thing. you're right about last year, Danny. They, supposedly a little soft, this, that, Mendoza has made this team a totally different team. All right. And I don't know if you guys know this. So I'm going to talk about Mendoza's backup is his brother. And Mendoza could have went, I know for a fact, and that people throw numbers around. I know for a fact he had multiple offers, over $2 million. Multiple, the kid. The place he wanted to go was Indiana, and his brother said, you got to come, which is unbelievable because his brother is the heir apparent to be the next quarterback. So that story in itself is fantastic. They're in the driver's seat now, guys. I mean, Herb Street today's put him over his beloved Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean,
right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. I don't think they play any more ranked teams the rest of the year. So
I think it's a very favorable schedule.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
Yeah. So them in Miami right now, I mean, every week they got to come play. It's going to be really interesting. The only thing that can derail this thing again is the Penn State thing. So that being said, you're absolutely right, Danny. The fact that college coaches are getting whacked, whacked early is crazy. And it has to be driven by Adidas. Okay, it has to be. Because I can't understand. As much as he's really not popular and so on and so forth with what has happened recently, it's kind of crazy that he got whacked so early. So college football, like I said, college football is really wild. What do you think, Danny, about the whole thing with all the announcers, Saban and Herb Street and everything else, basically sticking up for their networks and promoting their conferences?
It's because I guess it's the way of the world nowadays. Now everyone, they want to, Herb Street has his favorites, Saban certainly, they have clout. So, it's disappointing to see it, but it's not surprising anymore.
Yeah. The money is just insane.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't want to spend any time on it. Unfortunately, the local teams are really taking a beating. And it's sad. And again, do I think Billy O'Brien's a great coach? I do. Maybe some people don't. I think Billy O'Brien is a great coach. Did I think Jeff Hafley is a great coach? I do. I think what he has proven to be in the DC at Green Bay Packers and maybe a head coach in the NFL soon. I don't know who the hell can turn it around up there, Dan. I have no idea.
I think it comes back to, I hate being repetitive because it makes it seem like we don't have any other opinions, but it does come back to money. BC's obviously not going to spend what some of these teams or most of these teams in the South are doing. You look at a team like Texas Tech. They've all of a sudden, they've gotten, money guys have said, hey, we want to be good. They've thrown tons of money at them. Look at them now. Top 10, they're going to be in the college playoffs, and they're going to be a dangerous team. They're not in there just as window dressing. That's a good team.
Yeah, I predict Final Four for Texas Tech. I really truly believe them. I think Miami will be there. I'm hoping Indiana's going to be there, and I think Ohio State will be there. But it's I'll tell you, the NIL sucks for a million reasons, but I'll tell you at the top, the competitiveness is unbelievable. And like you say, Dan, we don't want to keep going back to it. But how funny is Lane Kiffin?
He's right.
I love the guy.
I love him.
I think he's hysterical.
He is hysterical. He is unbelievable.
Guys, let's go right into the NFL, guys. This was a great week, man. We started off with a bunch of great slates. We had the Sunday night game, with the Lions and Chiefs. That was a great game. We're all rooting for the Chiefs, Danny. All rooting for the Chiefs. I am. I don't know about him. He probably.
You know about him? I could see his fucking hat in the background.
You know what? I just thought it was the perfect game. I was, again, the Chiefs played the absolute perfect game, which I wasn't surprised. Why call a penalty on the Chiefs? Please keep them on the Lions.
That's it.
We're about to see a recreation.
Why call a penalty on the field when you have New York who can make the calls for you?
Start it off, Danny. Go ahead. Let's stay on the subject.
Obviously, I'm still a little bitter about that one. A couple of games, the one unfortunate thing about living down here is that you always get stuck with the friggin' Dolphins at 1 o'clock.
Yuck.
And this was even by Dolphin standards was bad. I thought they'd done a hell of a job. They rallied, take the lead, figure out they're going to win. Then I even said at one point, I said, they're going to find a way to blow this game.
Yeah.
Long kick return. And then the play that, there should have been a penalty called a holding penalty. They let the Chargers get away with it, and he hits it McConkey down the line, and he makes a great play, and they kick a field goal. Another loss for them. I tell you, Philly, I'd be really concerned about Philly. I mean, not only did they lose to the Giants, they got to take it to them. Yeah. And there's a lot of, the dissension has been coming out little by little, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting there to see what happens. They got a lot of talent. So, I mean, talent at the end of the day, but at some point, another loss or two, does, A.J. Brown totally lose it? Saquon hasn't been too happy. Jalen Hurts has made comments. I mean, Kellen Moore was a lot better than people thought there last year. I know Fangio got a lot of credit as the DC, and what deservedly so. Kellen Moore did a great job as the offensive coordinator there.
Danny, you and I have been watching before Damien's been born. Have you ever seen an NFL more wide open? I mean, ever? I mean, we're talking. I mean, power rankings right now. I mean, my Colts are up there. Most guys in the power rankings have the Patriots number 5. I mean, and the Bills are basically out of the top 5. The Eagles are out of the top 5. Lions are teetering. I mean, it's crazy. So we've gone through a third of the season, and it's insane how wide open this thing is. So, I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be a wild year, and we talk about it all the time. And broken record here about how big these rosters got to be. But you talk about it, Danny. Your Lions are beaten up.
I mean, I'm laughing about the Monday night game is Tampa Bay against Detroit, and it's going to be a bad. Tampa may not have any receivers, and Detroit may not have any defensive backs.
What's it going to stop?
The stalemate.
It's insane.
What's it going to stop?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't allow these guys to play 17 games. I mean, they go into a game with 6 wide receivers. I mean, and they're sprinting every single play, and they're just breaking down. Something's got to give with the pro stuff.
Absolutely.
But and the other team I think is in really big trouble is the Bills. I just don't.
I agree with you.
They're not. They don't have that. We got Diggs now, who's playing fantastic. They missed the breakout receiver. They really missed him.
Amen.
That's
they got too many number 3 and 4 receivers. That's the problem.
Yeah, guys, exactly. So I mean, but anyways. So that being said, Dame, I got a quick question for you.
Yep.
Who's in first place in the AFC East, Dame? Who's in first place?
The New England Patriots. All right, guys. So last Sunday's game, Patriots between Saints. It was a good game. Patriots played well. One of the worst officiated games I have ever seen in my entire life. Go back and watch that PI. First of all, I want to start off by giving the game ball to Pop Douglas. This guy just hasn't been able to fit in this Josh McDaniels offense. He's just not fitting. He's just not getting open. Drake May's not targeting him. It's just something's wrong. And then all of a sudden, he starts this game. I'm going to call it 2 touchdowns. I don't care if it got called back. He goes out there and catches 2 40-plus yard touchdowns. Gives it a little juke, right into the end zone. I'm mind blown. First of all, Drake May is fantastic. He right now is a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm just going to say that. I think some of you guys may agree. I think he's a top 5 quarterback right now. Just right now. Right now so far in this season. The defense stepped up. I thought the Saints played pretty well, for the Saints. Again, the officiating was god-awful. 2 PI calls were called on us. Offensive pass interference on 50-yard bombs. And then you go back and look at it, and Diggs puts a hand on him, like just a little hand on him. And then Diggs does an amazing sideline catch, 50 yards plus on a third and 15. We're like, holy crap, there we go. Oh, offensive pass interference. He puts his hand on him again. Okay, I get that. Then Drake May goes, all right, just move the sticks back. I'm just going to throw it farther. Throws a dot to Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins, our 3rd or 4th receiver. And then they call pass interference again. Like, okay, you don't want the Patriots to win. That's fine.
Calm down. Take a breath.
At least your team won.
I was going to say, who the fuck won, Damien? I mean, Jesus, the skies fall. What's going to happen when they lose, Danny? What's going to happen when they lose?
I won't.
We'll have
make
to
the
find a
show.
new producer.
Yeah, I won't make the show.
I will say this. I can't even add to that. I will say this to your point. In my opinion, the worst rule in all of pro football is spot foul for pass interference.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady was, I don't know if you guys remember, but towards the end of his career, it would be 3rd and long. Brady would go back and throw a fly ball to one of his receivers, whether it be Edelman or Randy and all those guys, and they would go up and fight. It was 50-50 chance they may catch it, number one, or they might get a PI, automatic pass. That they should go to college. And conversely, college should adopt the pro rule of if you're down on a knee and you have not been forced down, they should be able to get up again. You take those 2 rules. I mean, I don't want to spend that. But anyways, I can't even talk about the Patriots anymore, Dan. You got it all. Dan, you got anything to say about the Pats?
No, I'm done.
You already, David, you stole our thunder.
Over the segment, guys. I got a little heat.
You didn't run this. You stole our thunder. You were fantastic. Unbelievable. Hey, guys, we got a really special guest. I mean, special guest in my world, and I think I know you guys are going to love him. You know, Ricardo Allen, and I hope he talks about this, was basically a guy who just started playing football in high school, all right, and blossomed into being an all Big Ten player, okay, a 7-year NFL vet, all right, played in 2 Super Bowls, and now is going into the world of agency, which is really, really fun. He's a fantastic guy, okay, and probably better than all those accolades they gave him. He's a great pickleball partner, and he's my partner down here in Fort Lauderdale. Let's bring in Rico Allen. Hey, Rick. Hey, Rick, welcome, buddy.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
This is the Boston Rant, okay? And my co-host, Danny Ventura, Danny V, was a longtime sports reporter for the Boston Herald. Covered you a little bit with the pro stuff. So, anyways, we love having you with us, buddy. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was great. It was even good to just get in a little early and just to listen to you guys and just listen to the way you guys talk, man. You guys know some ball. I already know you guys love ball, but I just listen to the little bit of talk that I was just listening to you guys. I always hear you always talking. I know you got so it's just like, yeah, he's always going. So, yeah, I'm always hearing him go. So it was good to hear that just a little bit.
Rick, I'm representing our guy Lou. So before I go any further, Danny and all the guys at home, listen, the special bond I have with Rico is that Lou Anarumo recruited him at Purdue, coached him at Purdue, and then when he finally could get his hands on him after Atlanta let him go, he picked up Rico, and Rico played in the Super Bowl for the Bengals. Lou, and I don't want to embarrass Rico here, Lou has called Rico one of the toughest guys he's ever coached and one of the smartest guys he's ever coached, okay? So this guy's really great. But, Rico, tell these guys a little bit about growing up in Florida, in like your path. I know you were not a 5-star guy.
Yeah.
Can you just get us through the path of going through from Florida to Purdue to the pros?
Yeah, it was. I took a very unorthodox kind of like path where I didn't really grow up. I always grew up loving football, but it was not like something that was like always on at the TV or always around. It was more like just growing up in Daytona Beach. It was like we had a really good little Pop Warner team in our high school, which was Mainland Bucks. High school was always very good. So I always wanted to, as a kid, to play as the Pop Warner, but I didn't grow up with the best of funds. You know, I grew up with a single mother who, did the best she could. She was working 2 or 3 jobs to just provide for us. You know, she was a mom of 4, just trying to get it by herself. So I never really got the opportunity to play organized sports, but I always wanted to. But I did get that opportunity going into my 9th grade year, getting able to start to play at Mainland High School, which at that time was like, man, really, really good. And it was my freshman year was 2006. And I got to play on the Mainland football team, and they was a really good team. And we ended up playing against, we ended up going undefeated all the way until we played against Lakeland Dreadnoughts, who had both the Pouncey twins, and they had Chris Rainey, and they had a lot of like NFL like pros. So it was like that first year of like high school ball while bumping into a legendary coach, which was John Moranto, who was one of the best coaches that I had to like bump into. I always had the blessing of bumping into really good coaches, but man, my path was a little different. I didn't really. I was an offensive player when I first started playing, and I never really had like the structure. So whatever they wanted me to do, I kind of did. So I played both sides of the ball, and coming to my junior year was when I really actually got my chance to play on varsity and actually get out there to play. And I started to get recruited by Lou Anarumo, who was at Purdue at the time, who came all the way down to Daytona Beach. Showed me a bunch of love. Always, never really questioned my height. I got recruited by a lot of the other schools, but they were still kind of questioning if I would get like a growth spur or that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking like, man, you asking me stuff I can't really control. So like, I wish I could control this, but I couldn't. And I ended up going with Lou Anarumo, who I just always knew he was going to be a great coach, and he was a tough coach. He poured into me as if I was one of his, and helped me become the man I am today, and the football player that I got to be in the NFL.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fascinated because you said your football beginnings were rather modest. Do you remember the first time you got a scholarship letter or any interest from colleges, and what was that like for you? I mean, you must have been floored. He's a guy who
Yeah.
had never really played much football, and all of a sudden you got Division I schools want you.
Yeah, the blessing that that I had growing up as a kid from the South was on the first day of spring football that we had spring football, which I didn't realize until when I went up to Indiana, when I went to Purdue, that everybody doesn't have spring football because in half of the world it's snowing. So in the first day of spring football down at Daytona Beach, we had all of the top colleges lined up on our sideline and our campuses, and these are all the major head coaches and stuff. But to be honest, I didn't really get my first scholarship until my senior year, and the first team that offered me was Arkansas. It was the Razorbacks, and it was just like I never even thought. I thought of just to play football. I never really even thought that I would get the opportunity to go to college. So like when that was actually presented to me as like I can go do this at the next level, man, it was like it showed me that like hard work that I really had only been putting in for like a really like limited time. But when I fell in love with it, I made sure I did it every day, and I stuck to my roots of being consistent with it. But it showed me that hard work actually pays off.
Reek, obviously fantastic DB. But at the beginning, the beginning of your career, you're fighting to make rosters. I think you were a fifth or sixth round pick,
Yep.
correct?
Yeah, fifth round.
Make rosters, stuff like that. A lot of these young kids, they want to play offense, they want to play defense, they don't want to play special teams. Can you talk a little bit about the initial time with the Falcons and making the roster and what you had to do to make that? Because I remember you were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks was really cool with you, which is great. Yeah. So you kind of bring us back to that year.
Yeah, it was so my rookie year, it's like like everybody who goes into being in the draft, I would say a lot of us who's in the draft, we are you would say the best in your class. You say you are the best on your team. You've done something majority of the time, you're statistically one of the better players. That's why like most of the NFL teams are looking at you and stuff. So like a lot of the times you get to a point in your career where you don't have to play special teams, and you don't have to do all of the role playing things that makes like a team go. But when you get into the NFL, you realize there's not 100 guys on the sideline. There's not an abundance of extra players. You only really have 53 players, but then you got to think about those 53 players. There might be 3 quarterbacks in that. There's 8 offensive linemen in there. There's the little there's the defensive tackles. They're not running down on kickoffs and all that kind of stuff. So you have like that's ingrained in a lot of the stuff that you don't even know, and you would think that your only job is like I get interceptions. No, that's not what you do. What you do is you contribute on every part. You're gonna be out there blocking on kickoff return. You're gonna be on there running on kickoff and back in the first got in. You was running down on kickoff. They had offensive linemen, as the wedge. So you had to go down there and hit 200-300 pounders as a 180-pound guy, just try to show the team that like I'm willing to make this team, and that's the reason that they took it off, because the offensive lineman was laying people out. Like, but I had to do everything the only reason that I got a chance going into, I would say, my first year, I didn't get a chance because, I just didn't play good enough, and I wasn't a contributor good enough on special teams. But I learned that I had to be the full package of being able to play on defense and also special teams to be able to be a contributor to the team. And going into my second year, I was at the bottom of the depth chart as a free safety. But because I made a bunch of plays on special teams early, it showed the team that I'm willing to just do anything. And then I jumped up the ranks on the defense, just because they're like, okay, this guy just want to play football no matter what. He just want to hit somebody.
Love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much more satisfying is your career? Because if I'm not mistaken, you were released as a rookie, and then they called you back.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. How much, the fact that you had to fight for this seems like this is the prototypical, if they're going to write a book about you, that you've been a fighter all along. You've had to fight your way from high school, because you came from a modest beginning football wise. You go to college, even in the pros, you're a 5th round pick, you get released. They call you back, and you refuse to quit. I think that speaks volumes of why you were so successful. The fact that you're not a quitter.
Yeah, it's I would say that's one of the main things of it. Is just like I would say it's like we all have a ego, but not allowing the ego to get in the way. It was like, yeah, we all have this dream of, this is how you want it to be. Everybody wants to be the 5-star. Everybody wants to be, Julio Jones. Everybody wants to be that guy. But like, it doesn't always work out as that. And, I would say the blessing that I did have was I started football late. So I never really said that I was just a running back, or I was just a corner, or I was just a safety, it was like, I want to play football, so like wherever you guys see me as a contributor on this team, put me on the field, and I'm willing to do that, because at the end of the day, I want to play football, and I want to win, and I want to try to find a way to make a living for my family. And I don't care what it looks like on the outside. I know what it feels like to contribute, on the inside. And I just like, yeah, it's like, I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to be told no, that, which is a big cuss word nowadays. You tell people no nowadays, it's like you've cussed them out and spit in their face. But it's just like, I'm not afraid of that. It's like, tell me what I need to do to get better, and I'm gonna go do it, But I'm resilient. I'm ready to fight. I'm always willing to do it and take it to the next level if I got it to.
He's resilient because he has to play pickleball with me, Danny.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. I'm going to jump in right now. The way he talks about it, I get the sense that you're playing with John McEnroe here. How good is he in pickleball?
Oh yeah, this is my guy. It's like,
yeah,
when we get on the team together, we're gonna get some wins, because he's gonna.
Oh, that's because of you, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it is because of him.
No, hey, it's a team game. You gotta see. That's the thing I love about pickleball as well too. It's just like any sport that takes teamwork and stuff like that. To win, you gotta do both of it, because the one thing about the crew that we play with, they will target you. If they want to get a win, they will pick on you. So you're gonna have to come with your A game every day. And Coach always comes with the fireworks. He's always come with the energy, and we get it done.
We get it. I'll tell you what, not that I gotta blow smoke here, but you play with Rico. We play with old ladies that are great. I was playing with Luongo today, the Hall of Fame goalie. And when you play with Rico, people are great at these little drop shots. That guy comes from the fence and gets those drop shots. And every time I do it, I say, that's why he played in 2 Super Bowls. Let's talk about Reek, if you don't mind. And again, we're a Boston crowd now. Reek, just hang with me, please.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 2016. You're in the Super Bowl. Yeah. You're one of the best players in the Super Bowl. You make 7 tackles. Okay. Yeah. You guys are up 28-3.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything else.
Not at all.
You see Brady on the. Can you just kind of walk us through? You see Brady on the other sideline. Did you ever think it was over?
No, you never know it's over. that's the thing about like playing against the greats, and I would say that's the thing about when you learn what resilience truly is. Like like that game, we knew for sure that like he was gonna come out fighting. Did we ever think it was gonna turn out the way that it did? No, never in 1,000 years you would think that it would come out like the way it turned out, the way it did. But you learn that like that's what the fundamentals are for. You learn that's what that's why you never give up. That's why you never stop fighting. Because like if you want to say anything about a game where you can say somebody's out of it, you can say that was it. Because I would say the games before that, I would say if you look at both of the games that we played in going to the Super Bowl, it was in a part of the game where I would say we had most of the teams in that same of time and the same amount of like point differential. And you would say that the only team that did not stop fighting was the Patriots. And it was when you're on the other side from Brady, you got to bring your A game no matter what. But it was also the surrounding crew that he had that was fighting with him the whole night, and they did not give up as well too, because it was a lot of teams will give up at that time. But I would say fighting against Brady, I played against him that year, and then I also played against him the next year, and I also played against him when he was at Tampa, and right before he went and won his next Super Bowl. It was just the same guy. The same guy. I would say like I was able to intercept a lot of quarterbacks because it's something about going through the rhythm of just doing the monotonous. Okay, the quarterback, the coach tells you to look this way, look the safety off, come back and throw the ball this way. And sometimes you can see that people who've been doing it for a long time, they sometimes are not looking at the people. They're just doing what the coach told them to do. And that's the ones that you can tell, like, okay, if I was to backpedal this way early in the game and the quarterback still throws it my way, I'm like, okay, he's not really looking at me. But the one thing about Brady is he was always looking at you. He did not. It was like, okay, if I went this way, he threw it this way. If I went this way, he threw it that way. If I went this way and then tried to go back this way, he would throw it the other way. It was like he was not one of the ones that ever got tired of doing what he was supposed to be doing.
Crazy.
Yeah, I happen to be there, as an employee of the Boston Herald writing. In fact, late in that third quarter, because we deal with early deadlines, my boss had me write a story basically saying, this is why the Patriots lost this Super Bowl. So we had a story ready to go. And then, when they started to come back. But it's funny you mentioned Julio Jones, because I've always felt like in the Super Bowl, people always get singled out for great catches. And I've always thought that the catch he made in the fourth quarter is probably the most unappreciated catch in the history of Super Bowls. Because when I first saw the catch, I'm like, out of bounds. What are they talking about? Then when you start looking at the catch, it's like, I cannot believe he made this catch.
Yeah, defying physics.
Tell me your take on the catch.
Yeah, it was like I've seen him do like some great stuff, but like, it's just like one of those things about like great players. It's like they seem to do things that like seem unhuman to everybody else, but they just find a way. At the times that you need them to find it too, they know how to find it. And that was always Julio. It was just like, it was like in my head, I'm like, okay, that's the catch. But the only reason I'm saying that's a catch is because it's Julio. If it was anybody else, I was like, yeah, that's out of bounds, because it's just like
it was amazing.
It was unreal, and that's just those players, and I hate that. Yeah. Hate everything about it. Love it. Love all the lessons from it. But hate everything about it, because like, that was I won the Super Bowl for sure. Like I'm a winner. I'm a competitor to the end. But all the lessons that I learned from there is some things that, man, I can teach people forever and ever.
Which brings me to my next question, my next comment, Rick. I know we've talked about it. Rico is now going into the world of being an agent, and I've dealt with agents a lot. I've dealt with players, and I mean, there's no one better. There's no one better. No one works harder. No one's smarter than anything else. Ricky, excited about your new opportunity?
Yeah, I am, man. So like after I did my second Super Bowl loss, I was down with the Rant. I was down with the Bengals, and I was with the Bengals and the Rams in that Super Bowl, which I was with Lou Anarumo. But right after that game, I ended up retiring and going into coaching. And then I did 2 years of coaching with the Miami Dolphins, 1 year as assistant special team assistant, and then the second year as an offensive assistant. And that was the year that they ended up having the #1 offense in the world. And, you know, that was the year that, like, you know, Tyreek Hill almost went for 2,000. And, you know, the blessing I had to do was I learned under Wes Welker. I got to see, you know, Tyreek. I got to see Tua. I got to see, you know, I got to, like, you know, actually share a little bit of my insight that I knew from with the defensive coverages and the stuff that was going on. But, you know, it was like, even though we was the #1 offense, it was something I always looked forward to. It was like I felt there was something more I can do to help the players. You know, I still felt that, like, you know, even though coaches are the closest things to, like, the players and stuff like that, it's still this missing area of help that a lot of players need. And, you know, that was something that, like, when I got my opportunity to get out, you know, and, you know, to be able to become a NFL agent is actually like a very, like, strict, you know, it's like only very little people be able to get the opportunity to actually become a sports agent. Cause I think they're only like 735 or 750 in all, you know, of sports agents through the whole time being. So it's like, they don't let just anybody and everybody in it, but to be able to do this, like, man, like, is this something that I've always been the leader, you know? I've always been a captain of the rooms, you know. The biggest blessing I would say that I had to get in the NFL was to get voted by the Falcons as a 2019 Man of the Year for the team. So, like, that's something that, you know, I've always, like, took pride in, was being, like, a leader and tried to make the most of my career while being in the NFL. Because I would say, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to be as good as I actually, you know, became, you know. I've always you know, I listened to people, and people told me I was good, but it was just like, I'm 5'9", and I wasn't very fast, and I wasn't very big, you know, and I knew the guys I was going against was just like, you know, I went against Julio Jones, and, you know, I went against Matt Ryan, and, you know, like top Devin Hesters. I got to see those kind of people all the time. And even though I was working with them and playing with them, I just knew that they was, like, better than me. And I knew that, like, my time in the NFL was very short, but I made the most of it.
Listen,
A
buddy.
question I have, can you compare the 2 Super Bowls you went to, you know, the time with Atlanta and the time with Cincinnati? Were they similar? Were they different for you? And if so, how?
They were similar in the sense that we were winning at the end of the game in both of them. You know, it was like when it got down to, like, the end of the game in both of them, you know, there was that chance that we was winning in both of them. I would say the one with the Patriots was, man, that one was just like, it was crazy. That one came out of nowhere because we was winning the whole time until we didn't win, you know. And that one was like a shock because there's no way in the world that you would think that, like, you would lose that kind of game. But I would say the one with the Bengals was a little different because I thought we had that game too. And, you know, I haven't talked about this game very much, but I thought we had a chance to win that game. I didn't think that penalty at the end was a good one. So that's why, you know, I try not to talk about it because, like, it's some things that's out of our hands. I thought that was like a fair play game, but yeah, still a loss, you know.
Rough
So that's
call.
what you just gotta, like, take them for what they are, and, you know, try to, like, find a way to not. If you're gonna win those games, you got to go win those games. You know, you can't leave it with no question or no even getting close to it, because you don't want it to be ever a question of, did somebody make a wrong call, or, you know, should we have ran the ball at this time, or should we have not done this? You know, the best you can try to do is get out there and do your damn part, and, you know, and try to get the win.
Reek, listen, we can't thank you enough, buddy. You're fantastic. And again, everyone listening, I know this already. I mean, you are going to be a superstar agent. You're going to be fantastic, best. And listen, I hope you're working on your Halloween costume for my party now.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me what it's going to be, Rico. Don't tell me.
I don't even know yet, so it's going to be a surprise to me too. So, but I'm gonna find something good.
Rico, thank you so much, buddy. I'll see you this week, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care, Rico. Nice
Thank you,
meeting you.
Rico.
This was great, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, have a good one.
Take care.
I mean, Danny,
That was
what
awesome.
a guy.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I'll tell you what. And again, kids, your parents and kids who watch and stuff like that, they think, I mean, this guy is salt of the earth. And the beauty of what he does is the way he treats people. I mean, we play pickleball. We play with over 100 people. And like I said, there's dudes like us, but there's old ladies, and they'll walk up and say, Rico, I don't have a partner. We play. He'll be over there in a second. You know what I mean? So he'll be playing with Luongo 1 minute, two pros on one court. And then the next minute he's playing with, old Mildred. He's just a great guy.
So if I make my debut at some point next week, can you hook me up with Mildred?
I was just going to say.
Or am I not at her level yet?
Ricardo's going to draw the line with you. Okay, but listen. We got to get those knees.
Oh, I know that.
We got to get.
I got to start at the bottom. Yeah.
We're getting the knees.
I know.
And you know what? And then you're old. Did you play handball back in the day in Brighton?
Played tennis. I played tennis.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
We got to get you down there. We got to get the knees. Even before that, I'm getting you out in the courts.
You may see me next week.
Oh, yeah, that would be fantastic.
You might be away.
I might be away, but that's all right. We're going to know. As soon as I'm back, we're going to get this thing rocking.
All right.
Oh, I can't wait.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's go to the rants, man. Let's go to the rants, my friend. You want to start it?
Okay, I'll start with my rant is a sideline reporter. And I don't mind if they give stuff, information during the game, but to get a coach in between quarters or at halftime, that nobody's going to give you anything. And the one you're going to laugh because the person I almost really felt bad for was Bill O'Brien the other night.
Oh.
The end of the third quarter, they're getting blasted. The reporter asks him, why did you change quarterbacks? Well, other than the fact that we're getting our nuts kicked in here, are you watching the game? I mean, he took the high road on her. But I mean, it's like, come on. And that's not just one time. This happens all the time. Just, there's no need for it. If you want to have a sideline reporter just to give reports during the game, that's fine. But stay away from the coaches. We don't need that.
Danny, I can't agree. I can't agree with you more. 2 weeks ago in the Bears game, Adita Kikaball, I know I'm butchering her game, is interviewing Ben Johnson on the sideline, okay? And literally challenging him to some of his, I mean, she's making it not like a little fluffy interview. She's challenging him. And Johnson finally goes back at her. I mean, thank God he's doing a hell of a job for the Bears. But it just, to your point, what are we doing with these guys? It makes me sick. Anyways, my rant is this. I cannot take any more. I know they've been around, and I know there are good rating services, but these goddamn rating services that just, I mean, I say guys in their basement are coming up with them. They're driving me crazy. Example number one, and the only one I got for right now is this. I'm online reading, and some guy comes out with this ranking of the most players from high schools put in at the top 100 academic schools. Obviously, that's my world. I mean, it's what my camps does, what our consulting company does. It's where I coached at. And I look at some of the schools in there, and quite frankly, these schools stink in football. There's a couple of them that are good. So I kind of go back at the guy who posted it. And I know I shouldn't do that, but I go back like, what are you talking about? And I brought up BB then, I brought up Dexter, I brought up St. Sebastian's, Tabor, Catholic Memorial, all these schools that I know are putting a lot of kids at high academic schools. And the guy kind of comes back to me and says, well, we don't know exactly what one. Listen, if you're going to publish a ranking system, for God's sakes, have your research done, okay? Have your research done. Get it out there. But you know what? Don't just come up with arbitrary rules here. I get pissed with all this stuff, And anyways, you know how I feel about the quarterbacks getting rated. This 17.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, a while back, somebody put out there some of the most overrated 5-star recruits. Maybe the 5-star recruits aren't the ones who are overrated. Maybe it's the people who are rating them in the first place are overrated. Maybe we should do something like most overrated scouting services.
Let's do that. No, I am so with you. It just drives me crazy. And it just, I don't know. Thank God we're still rated the number one podcast in the country. Right, Dave?
Damn
I
straight.
looked at in Poland, we're number 2.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Danny. Shout it out, buddy.
This is probably the only time all year that they're going to ever be worthy of a shout out, but it's time to recognize the New York Football Jets for what they did last weekend. They somehow, and I don't even know how it's physically possible to wind up with net 10 passing yards against Denver, and they almost won the game. How do you, in this day and age where everyone, the sophisticated passing attacks and all and what have you, minus 10 yards?
Danny, I really, really hope that Aaron Glenn has not gone after 1 year, because I really believe that he went through what the Lions went through at the beginning, and I think he knows how to do it. I really hope so. But wow, are they horrific? I mean, they are bad. And listen, look at the AFC East right now. Patriots, they might, you hate to say a cakewalk. I mean, unbelievable. But yeah, the Jets are a mess. My shout out goes to Dave Dunn, who was the head football coach at Columbus High School down here in Miami, Florida. Yes, Dave's a friend of mine. But I went back and 4 years ago, I go to a lot of the games down there. I would go to Dave's games, and he had a quarterback named Fernando Mendoza, who, as we all know, is now the starting quarterback for Indiana and now maybe the number 1 pick in the draft. Well, when he was playing quarterback for Dave, he had one offer going into a senior year, and that was Yale University. Not a scholarship offer, an offer of admission. I never saw a high school coach believe and work harder about getting this kid what he deserved. Dave worked the phones endlessly with all 130 FBS schools. He finally got his offer at Cal, late in his season, okay? And that catapulted Fernando into where he is today, all right? And a guy like Dave, he's won 5 state championships down here, but they don't get the recognition they know that they deserve. We know a lot of guys in Massachusetts, the same thing. I love guys who are in it for the kids. So my shout out goes to Big Dave Dunn.
Very good.
What do you think, Dave?
Love it.
Good one.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Well, hey, guys, another lot of fun, it was great having Ricardo on. We finished in under an hour, which is fantastic. Danny, get back out to the pool. Damien, go shovel some snow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to walk the blocks.
There you go.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
week, everyone.
See you guys.